Imagine a proud doctor, sharp as a lion's claw, humiliating a kind nurse in front of everyone, until a mysterious patient, an old man with a secret as old as the baobab tree, turns the tables in a way no one saw coming. Who is this stranger, and what shocking truth will he reveal? Stay tuned for a gripping story that'll leave you speechless. In the heart of Amani, a bustling city where glass skyscrapers kissed the clouds and market stalls hummed with the rhythm of life, there stood the Great Amani Hospital. This was no ordinary place. Its walls, painted in the colors of the savannah, ochre, green, and gold, whispered stories of healing and hope. The hospital was a beacon, where the old ways of herbal remedies and ancestral prayers danced alongside modern medicine. Here, doctors in white coats worked beside griots who sang praises to the spirits, and patients came from far and wide, believing in the hospital's magic. At the center of this world was Nurse Amina, a woman whose smile could calm a storm. Her skin glowed like polished ebony, and her eyes held the wisdom of her grandmother, Mama Zawadi, a revered storyteller from the village of Kai Papio. Amina wore her nurse's uniform with pride, its crisp white fabric adorned with a single bead necklace, a gift from Mama Zawadi, said to carry the strength of their ancestors. She moved through the hospital with grace, her hands gentle as she bandaged wounds or soothed crying children. To the patients, she was more than a nurse, she was a sister, a daughter, a friend. But not everyone saw Amina's light. Dr. Kofi Mensah, a surgeon with a tongue sharper than a blacksmith's blade, ruled the hospital's surgical wing like a lion over his pride. His reputation was mighty, his skill unmatched, but his heart was heavy with pride. He believed nurses were beneath him, mere shadows to his brilliance. To Amina, he was especially cruel, mocking her in front of colleagues, dismissing her knowledge, and calling her just a nurse with a sneer that stung like a scorpion's tail. One morning, as the sun painted Amani's skyline with hues of mango and rose, Amina stood at the bedside of an elderly patient, Mama Nia, who had come from a distant village. Mama Nia's hands trembled as she clutched Amina's, her voice frail but warm. "Child," she whispered, "you carry the spirit of healers. Do not let the lion's roar dim your fire." Amina smiled, her heart swelling. "Thank you, Mama. I will keep my fire burning." But before she could say more, Dr. Mensah stormed into the ward, his white coat flapping like the wings of an angry hawk. His eyes narrowed at Amina. "Nurse, why are you wasting time chatting? This patient needs her chart updated, not your village tales." Amina's cheeks burned, but she held her tongue, her grandmother's proverb echoing in her mind. "The river does not shout its strength, it flows, and all feel its power." She nodded and stepped aside, her hand steady as she adjusted Mama Nia's blanket. Dr. Mensah barely glanced at the patient. "Prepare her for surgery," he barked, then strode out, leaving a chill in the air. Mama Nia squeezed Amina's hand. "Patience, child. The ancestors see all." Amina nodded, but deep inside, a seed of doubt sprouted. How long could she endure Dr. Mensah's cruelty? And what would it take for her light to shine in his eyes? The next day, a new patient arrived at the Great Amani Hospital, stirring whispers among the staff. He was an old man, his face weathered like the bark of a baobab tree, his eyes deep and knowing, as if they held the secrets of the stars. He wore a simple robe of indigo cloth, faded but dignified, and carried a carved wooden staff topped with a small, glistening stone. No one knew his name, and he spoke little, but his presence filled the room like the scent of rain after a drought. Amina was assigned to his care. As she checked his chart, she noticed something strange. His file listed no hometown, no family, only a single note, emergency case. VIP. She frowned. VIPs usually arrived with entourages, flashy cars, and demands. This man was different. He sat quietly on the hospital bed, his staff leaning against the wall, watching the world with a calm that made Amina's heart slow. "Good morning, Baba," she said, using the respectful term for an elder. "I am Amina, your nurse. How are you feeling?" The old man's lips curved into a faint smile. "I am here, child, and that is enough. Tell me, what is your story? Amina blinked, surprised. Patients rarely asked about her. Oh, I'm just a nurse, she said, then caught herself, remembering Mama Zawadi's words, never call yourself just anything, for you are a thread in the great tapestry of life. She straightened. I come from Kaipapio village. My grandmother taught me the old stories, the ones that heal the soul. Now I heal bodies here. The old man nodded, his eyes glinting. A healer of body and soul. That is a rare gift. Before Amina could respond, Dr. Mensah burst into the room, his clipboard slapping against his thigh. Nurse, he snapped. Why is this patient's for not set? Do you think you're here to gossip? Amina's stomach tightened, but she kept her voice steady. I was about to prepare it, doctor. I've just checked his chart. Dr. Mensah scoffed, turning to the old man. You see, sir, this is what I deal with, the nurses who think they're doctors. Stick to fetching bandages, Amina. The old man said nothing, but his eyes followed Dr. Mensah, sharp and unyielding, like an eagle tracking its prey. Amina felt a chill, not of fear, but of something ancient, powerful. She busied herself with the four, her hand steady despite the sting of Dr. Mensah's words. As Dr. Mensah left, the old man spoke softly. Pride is a heavy cloak, child. It blinds the wearer but not the world. Amina paused, her heart stirred by his words. Yes, Baba, she said. But how does one lift such a cloak? He smiled, tapping his staff gently. With truth. And time. That night, as Amina walked home through Amani's neon-lit streets, the old man's words lingered. Who was he? And why did his presence feel like a drumbeat calling her to something greater? Days passed, and the old man's condition remained a mystery. Tests showed no clear illness, yet he stayed, his presence a quiet anchor in the chaos of the hospital. Amina grew fond of him, bringing him small gifts, a mango from the market, a woven bracelet from a street vendor. Each time, he thanked her with a story, tales of trickster spirits, wise animals, and heroes who faced impossible odds. His voice was like a river, smooth and deep, carrying Amina back to her childhood under Mama Zawadi's baobab tree. But Dr. Mensah's cruelty only grew. He mocked Amina at every turn, questioning her competence, dismissing her suggestions. Stick to cleaning beds, he'd say, his voice loud enough for all to hear. The other nurses whispered their support, but none dared challenge the lion of the surgical wing. One afternoon, as Amina adjusted the old man's fur in a crowded ward, Dr. Mensah entered with a group of medical students trailing him like eager pups. The ward was alive with activity, nurses rushing, patients murmuring, the air thick with the scent of antiseptic and hope. Amina was explaining the old man's chart to a junior nurse when Dr. Mensah's voice cut through the noise. Nurse Amina, he bellowed, his eyes glinting with malice. Why is this patient's drip leaking? Are you so incompetent you can't even manage a simple 4? Amina froze, her heart pounding. She glanced at the 4, it was secure, no leak in sight. The ward fell silent, all eyes on her. The medical students shifted uncomfortably, the patients watched, and the old man sat upright, his staff gripped tightly. Doctor, Amina said, her voice calm but firm, the 4 is fine. I checked it moments ago. Dr. Mensah laughed, a harsh, mocking sound. You? Check? You're not qualified to check anything. Step aside before you embarrass yourself further. He turned to the students, gesturing at Amina. This, my dear students, is why nurses should know their place. Leave the thinking to doctors. The words hit Amina like a slap. Her hands trembled, but she held her head high, her bead necklace glinting in the sunlight. She wanted to speak, to defend herself, but the weight of the moment pressed her down. The junior nurse beside her looked away, ashamed. The patients whispered, some with sympathy, others with curiosity. Then, the old man spoke, his voice low but resonant, like thunder rolling over the savannah. Enough. Every head turned. Dr. Mensah froze, his smirk fading. The old man's eyes burned with a fire Amina had not seen before. You speak of place, he said, but you forget your own. A healer's heart is measured by humility, not titles. Dr. Mensah's face reddened. Who are you to lecture me, old man? You're just a patient. The old man smiled, a slow, knowing smile. Am I? A chill ran through the ward. Amina's heart raced. Who was this man, and what power did he hold? The hospital buzzed with rumors after the confrontation. Who was the old man? Why had he challenged Dr. Mensah? Amina couldn't shake the feeling that something big was coming, like the first drops of rain before a storm. She continued her duties, but her mind was on the old man's words, a healer's heart is measured by humility. That evening, as the city of Amani glowed under a blanket of stars, Amina sat by the old man's bedside. The ward was quiet, the other patients asleep. She brought him a cup of rooibos tea, its warm, earthy scent filling the air. Baba, she said softly, why did you speak for me today? The old man sipped the tea, his eyes twinkling. Because you needed to see your own strength, Amina. And because the lion must learn to listen. Amina frowned. Dr. Mensah? He listens to no one. The old man chuckled, a sound like pebbles rolling in a stream. Even the mightiest river bends before the mountain. Tomorrow, child, you will see. The next day, the hospital was abuzz with excitement. A special ceremony was planned in the hospital's grand courtyard, where the city's elders would honor the great Amani Hospital for its service. The courtyard was a sight to behold, palm trees swaying, Kent cloth banners fluttering, and a stage adorned with cowrie shells and carved masks. Dr. Mensah, as the hospital's star surgeon, was to receive a prestigious award. Amina stood among the nurses, her heart heavy. She watched Dr. Mensah stride onto the stage, his chest puffed out, basking in the applause. The city's mayor spoke, praising the hospital's work, then called for a special guest to present the award. The crowd hushed as the old man from the ward stepped forward, no longer in his simple robe but dressed in a magnificent agbada of gold and blue, his staff now revealed as a symbol of authority. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Amina's breath caught. The old man was Chief Oluwaseun, the revered elder of Amani, a man whose wisdom guided the city, whose ancestors founded the hospital generations ago. He was no ordinary patient, he was the heart of Amani itself. Dr. Mensah's face paled. He stammered, bowing awkwardly. Chief Oluwaseun raised a hand, silencing the crowd. This hospital, he said, his voice carrying like a griot song, is a place of healing, not pride. I came here not as a chief, but as a patient, to see the truth of those who serve. He turned to Dr. Mensah, his eyes piercing. You are skilled, but skill without heart is a hollow drum. You humiliated a healer, Nurse Amina, whose care kept me strong. Her humility is your lesson. The crowd murmured, heads nodding. Dr. Mensah's shoulders slumped, his pride crumbling like dry earth. Chief Oluwaseun then called Amina to the stage. Her legs trembled, but she walked forward, her bead necklace warm against her skin. The chief placed a carved wooden pendant around her neck, a symbol of honor. Amina, he said, you are the future of this hospital. Lead with your heart, and the ancestors will guide you. Tears stung Amina's eyes as the crowd erupted in cheers. Dr. Mensah stepped forward, his voice low. Amina, I was wrong. Forgive me. Amina looked into his eyes, seeing not the lion, but a man humbled. She nodded. We heal together, Doctor. The story of Amina and Chief Oluwaseun spread through Amani like wildfire, retold in markets, schools, and homes. Dr. Mensah changed, working alongside Amina with respect, his pride replaced by a quiet strength. The great Amani hospital grew stronger, its halls filled with laughter, healing, and unity. Amina never forgot the old man's lessons. She wore the wooden pendant with pride, a reminder that true power lies in humility and kindness. Each night, she sat under the stars, whispering thanks to her ancestors and Mama Zawadi, whose stories had shaped her heart. And so, children of Amani, listen well to this tale. As the elders say, the tallest tree does not shade itself, it shelters all who seek its refuge. Pride blinds, but humility opens the eyes. Be like Amina, whose heart lit the way, and remember that the ancestors are always watching, guiding us to be our best selves. Moral lesson: true strength comes from humility and respect for others, no matter their role or title. Pride blinds us to the wisdom around us, but a kind heart sees the truth and builds a better world.